am getting some really good vibes from this. Might be a 5-star read.
My favorite part of the book so far is when the dog is narrating.
Hello book besties, welcome back to my channel. I have 6 books on my TBR for November and you guys are gonna be here to make sure that I get through them all. I am determined to hit my TBR goal by the end of this month because it's only gonna help me reach my reading goal by the end of this year, which currently I still have 8 books to go. Oh, hello. Oh, come here. Oh, you're so cool. Slobber on my face. So come along with me as we bring that number way down. Okay, it's a little while later now and I'm now a little over halfway through my first book for November, which is The Bodyguard. I cannot even tell you how much I am loving this book right now. Genuinely, I've been looking for an author like this for a really long time. If you've seen my videos, then you would know that I love Sarah Adams for her small town romances that are also closed door, very little to no spice at all. And that is exactly how this book has been so far. And I am absolutely loving it. For those who have not heard of this book, basically the premise behind it, we have our male and female main characters. Our female main character, she's the one we're mainly following. She's like 5'4". You wouldn't think she's dangerous like at all. But in reality, like she's super dangerous. She loves her job, workaholic, tough girl. And she is hired to be the bodyguard for our male main character, who is a famous movie star. And basically in the very beginning of the book, our female main character is in kind of a rough place in life. Like her mom had just passed, her boyfriend and her break up. Her boss doesn't really think it's like the best idea for her to like be put on like a super dangerous mission just because she is dealing with a lot. So basically we are like following them and she has to basically pretend to be his girlfriend so that his mom, who he's visiting, she's sick, doesn't know that he's like in danger in any way. Basically though, it is really good. I'm loving it. I am getting some really good vibes from this. I'm like reading this book and I have like the biggest smile on my face while I'm reading. I'm just cheesing so hard from this book. If it keeps going this way, I don't want to jinx it, but might be a 5-star read. We'll see. She doesn't treat him like he's this like famous god that everybody needs to like bow down to. And he and her banter are like so good because she's so serious and he like can't really take her serious. It makes just such a good dynamic between the two of them. If I've ever read a fake dating book, and trust me, I read many, there are 2 things that are gonna be consistent in every single one. One, when it's suggested, the 2 people involved in the fake dating will always be like, no one fake dates. This isn't a thing. Who knows how to fake date because no one does that. And I think that's like to make it seem like less tropey, like it never happens. But I've read multiple books where it happens all the time. And then the second thing that always happens is they obviously start catching feelings and both of them are always thinking, well, but it's fake for them. They don't actually have feelings for me. When all of the clues and everything that we're reading shows that they both have real feelings for each other. Yeah. I just want to get to the part where they talk about how they have real feelings for each other and the fake dating becomes less fake. That's why I read these books. Hey friends, if you can't tell by my current demeanor, I finished the book. It's 5 stars. I absolutely loved this book. This is the exact type of thing that I've been looking for. I feel like with a few romances recently, I've been like reading them and it's been too lusty for me. If you don't know, like I'm super not into that. No judgment to the people who are, but that's just so not me. Normally like I'll skip when things get like really spicy. And I love when I can just read a book and I don't have to worry about that. That's why I love Sarah Adams' books so much, because there's a lot of like romance and emotional love and like the tension, but it's not as, if you know what I mean. And I've been looking for another author like her, and I really hope that Catherine Center's other books are similar to this one in that way. I love the family that she found in Jack's family, and I love how her ex got what he deserved. This is just everything that I want in a romance book. It's the type of book that reminds you of falling in love. There's like few books that like I want my husband to read, and this is one of them. I was like, please read it. It's so good. It's obviously a lot later now. My husband and I went to dinner at my parents' house and came back, and I literally wanted to just pick it up and read all night. And that's how you know it's such a good book, because I started this last night and I finished it in less than 24 hours, I would guess. And I'm gonna go recommend it to everyone I know now. I've been a little busy doing some work, so I've been listening to the audiobook all morning. And I just want to say my favorite part of the book so far is when the dog is narrating. It's like so cute. It is now the next day. I put my hair up in a bun like hours ago and I haven't touched it, so ignore that. I am 73% through lessons in chemistry now. There's just a few things that I am like absolutely loving about this book so far. I feel like this book, as well as The Wedding People, just make me think about topics that I don't usually spend a ton of time thinking about, and it makes me get more interested in these topics. That's one thing I love about reading, is that you're able to kind of look into characters' brains and dip your toe into these different lives that you're reading about. In this one, Miss Elizabeth Zott, the main character that we are following, is a chemist. And the way that she talks about chemistry is actually so interesting to me. I'm like, why is this making me like want to do science and like experiments and things like that? One thing that I also think that Bonnie Garmis does so well, she's incredible at tying in all of these different characters throughout the books and bringing them in the most unexpected ways. It makes you just get excited about these coincidences, even though obviously she has them very planned out, but you as the reader just weren't expecting to see these different lives collide. And I'm just loving reading about that and in like experiencing that as the reader. I think that this book brings up obviously very many topics, and she has many opinions and other people have different opinions, and I think that I just love how she is so able to be firm in her beliefs and her values, even though they're uncommon. The things that she believed and stood for are a lot more common nowadays, but I just love the whole theme of just believing that there is good in the world if you strive to also do the right thing. So I'm really enjoying it so far. That's how much we have left. Let's get reading. Before I continue, I was listening to this book mostly on audiobook. I really like the voice actor for it, so I would recommend the audiobook as well. But I will say, once she starts the cooking show, she's using like the scientific names for the ingredients that she's making, and there's like very scientific speech. I had to open the book and listen to the audiobook, and I like doing that. It feels like you're like surrounded and focused on the book in all ways, because for me sometimes I like listening to other music while I'm reading, but if I'm listening to the book, then it really helps me focus in and like help my mind not wander while I read. And reading the book while it was going over like all of the scientific terms and everything definitely helped me be able to comprehend like what was going on a little better, just because it's not language that you hear every day. finished lessons in chemistry last night at like 1 o'clock in the morning because honestly, this book was really hard to put down. It was so good and it kept me very engaged and it kept me wanting to read it, which is a really good sign, as you can tell. Which is crazy that I did that considering I have a child. If you know, you know. There were so many things I did love about this book, and I think I already mentioned a few of them. I loved the dog. He's my favorite character. 630, love him. Now I want to teach my dog words. I also love how she was so perfectly able to mention so many random details and bring in so many characters throughout the entire book that she was able to tie together super well at the end. The end was beautiful, how she was able to tie everything together seriously so well. Having her mention little details at the end and then going back in the book and being able to like spot them in a different light was such a fun thing to be able to do. And she's just an incredible writer in that sense. I also loved Mad. She definitely did not seem her age, but I get she was like a child prodigy of some sorts. I will say, this was not a perfect book to me. I think in reality, I'm probably gonna rate this like 3.5 stars, maybe even 3.75, because I really did love it and enjoy it. There was just a few things that were throwing me off. To me, it felt like the author has views and stances on a few topics that she was inserting into the book. Which, that being said, there's nothing wrong with that. That happens a lot because it's really hard for authors to kind of disconnect themselves from themselves. But that being said, a few of these things did seem inconsistent with our main character. And on top of that, did not seem believable with the time that the book is set in. This book is set in 1950s, 1960s. It seemed like issues in the 2020s are being discussed as if they were happening in the 1950s, 1960s, which to me just seemed unrealistic. It was kind of bringing me out of the story. Also, it did seem that the author was trying to make points that she believes through her main character. But like I said, some of those things were a little unrealistic to me personally. And I think that I just have a hard time with like blanket statements where she's saying like, well, all people are like this. And that's kind of where I have a hard time. There's so much gray area and different perspectives in everything. So that is my thought on that. I don't think she needs to kind of exaggerate some things as much as she did. I don't know. If you have Goodreads, I would go to Goodreads and read, her name is Jan. And her review is one of the top reviews, and I would read it because I really do agree with a lot that she said in her review. But still, it was an amazing book. I loved the ending. I was feeling so many emotions while I was reading it. I'm still excited to watch this show and talk about it with my mom. But yeah, those were some of my thoughts just from reading it. I think there was a lot of truth that was told in this book as well. I dog-eared one of the pages, which if you know me, that's like crazy. I dog-eared. I think that this line describes the book really well. Despite what Elizabeth Zott will tell you, Separate Six is not just an introduction to chemistry. He wrote that on the plane. It's a 30-minute, 5-day-a-week lesson in life, and not in who we are or what we are made of, but rather who we are capable of becoming. It's a good lesson about life and that no one can tell you who you're meant to be or what's the right or wrong way to be. And that's what I really loved about this book. And I wish that more things in this book were consistent with that. That's what I'm going to say. 3.5, possibly 3.75. That will just come down to whether or not I keep thinking about it after I read it. Anyways, getting right into it. I'm starting my next book, and I was lucky enough that it was just available on Libby for my Kindle. I have the physical copy, but I really love reading on my Kindle. How funny is that? This whole video, I've read one book physically, one book mostly audiobook, and then on my Kindle for the third book. I'm starting If He Had Been With Me. It is the next day, and I am now 300 pages in. I will say, I don't know how those pages line up because I am reading it on my Kindle. I was having a really hard time getting into it. I think it's because the writing is very like blunt, like it's very short and like choppy, and it also jumps around a lot. It starts when they're freshmen in high school and now they're seniors and they just graduated. So it covers a good bit of time. So it's going through the years like very quickly, where I feel like I'm more used to reading books that are over the span of like a few months and are a lot more in depth. I think I also might have been having a little bit of a hard time getting into it because it is set in high school. I don't relate to it as much as I obviously once used to. I will say a lot of it is very relatable with the friendships and the things going on and the drama and little bickers and fights that they're worried about do seem very age appropriate for them. And it really does kind of like bring you back to that time. I think it's a little bit more exaggerated for like the things that they're getting into and stuff, like so young. Maybe that was just me. I don't know. That might be more relatable for people who were experiencing more of that stuff at like such a young age. I will say I am very invested. It's about a girl named August, and she has this friend that she grew up with, and it's her mom's best friend's son, and they grew up together. They had a lot of memories from very young ages. And it's kind of those things where their moms were always like, oh my gosh, like they're gonna be together forever. They've just gone down like different paths in like middle school and high school, and so they're just in different friend groups and have kind of grown apart. They have different friend groups, and it's kind of just talking about their lives near each other and separately. And then it also kind of shows their paths overlapping. Something just happened in the book that I'm assuming means that we're gonna see a lot more of them together. I also only have 100 pages left. I know that this is a sad book based off of the reviews that I've seen, as well as some of the trigger warnings for this book that are in the beginning of the book that haven't happened yet. So I know something's gonna happen. I don't know when or who or how, and that's what I'm nervous about. But like I said, I only have 100 pages left, so let's get reading. Let's just say I'm kind of scared. I have 50 pages left and still nothing has happened. Is this really gonna be like the very end that something happens? I have a feeling it's about to get bad. I'm so scared. It's a little later now. I've pulled myself together. That was horrible. It made me feel better. I'm not the type to typically read tragedies or sad books because I don't think I handle it well. I'm like heartbroken over that freaking book. I gave it 4 stars because a lot of it was very relatable. Although I do think I stand by what I said earlier about high school being a little bit exaggerated and not as realistic as it actually is, but it is a book and that's bound to happen. Wow, that was really sad. I wish I was ending this video on a happier note than just like the sad book from this month. The love was really beautiful. I think I do really relate to Autumn when she says that there's beauty in sadness, because that's how I see life a lot of the time. Like, my husband laughs at me because I really do only listen to like very sad music and I love sad movies, and tell him all the time like I would never choose to never be sad because I think there's a lot of beauty in sadness and a lot to learn from sadness. But I just wish that book could have had a different ending for them. Hard read. That was hard to read. I think he knows I'm like sad over this book. Anyways, I love y'all, book besties, and hopefully next video is gonna be a little more fun because this one is ending so sad. Me and Ranger love you, and we hope to see you next time.